This is the plaintiff, Keith Curtin. He says the defendant is his son-in-law, and the louse borrowed $3,900 from him and hasn't paid him back. It pains him to have to sue his son-in-law in court, but family or no family, he's owed $3,900 and he wants it. He wants it now, so he's suing. This is the defendant, Chris. He says his father-in-law was being nice because he and his daughter were trying to buy a house. Unfortunately, the plaintiff's daughter's an alcoholic who's been in and out of rehab, so they never got the house. It's his daughter's fault the deal fell through. The money the plaintiff gave them went towards his daughter's rehab, and he owes him nothing. He's accused of doing a father-in-law wrong.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket, the plaintiff is suing his son-in-law who borrowed nearly $4,000. Now, the defendant says the problem is the plaintiff's daughter is an alcoholic and it derailed the home purchase, so it's her fault, not his. It's the case of you don't know Jack.
Thank you, Douglas. Where are the women in your lives, huh, gentlemen? They left you to battle this out alone? Yes. All right, Keith Curtin and Alice Curtin, you have power of attorney for Alice, your wife. Chris, you are married to Keith and Alice's daughter, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, Mr. Curtin and Mrs. Curtin are suing you for $3,900, a balance of a loan that they made to you under certain conditions and that you supposedly have not repaid. Let me hear from you first.
All right, Your Honor. The defendant not contacted my wife and told her he was having a problem trying to get a house that him and my daughter were trying to obtain. He said that he had 3 loans that he had to pay off in order to turn his credit rating around so that he can get the approval for the loan. My wife and I talked about it. We did give him a $4,000 loan with the stipulation that if he did not take the house, that the loan would then become a loan.
And if he did take the house?
If he did take the house, then the $4,000 was considered a gift.
Okay, so like a housewarming gift.
Correct.
Because you
Yes,
wanted your daughter to be living in a home that they co-owned.
Correct.
Because they didn't own a home at that point.
Yes, ma'am.
So as an incentive, you said if you get the house, you don't have to pay me back, but if you don't, you do have to pay me back.
Yes, ma'am.
And was that your understanding as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so why are we here? Because you feel that you should not have to pay it back because the reason you didn't get the house wasn't your fault. It was his daughter's fault in your eyes. So tell me what's going on there.
Or at the very least, only be viable for half of it.
But tell me what happened?
The circumstances were when I was trying to get the house, I was approved for it, and due to the addictions that my wife has.
What are the addictions your wife has?
Well, she's addicted to alcohol and then other recreational drugs occasionally.
Okay, do you have children?
Yes, we have
How
2
old?
children, 2 and 4.
Jeez. Go ahead.
And it just got to be, I hid it from everybody for over a year and a half before it just started.
What kind of other recreational drugs? Just so I have a handle on what we're talking about.
I'm pretty sure she was doing cocaine and marijuana.
Okay, was she doing
along
that
with
when
it.
you met her?
She had had a previous addiction, but had not been drinking for several years.
Okay. All right, so now, so what happens? It got so bad that?
She'd completely lose control, and she'd take off and be gone. Like on Valentine's Day, she took off, didn't come home, wound up hooking up with an Uber driver on
How do you know
Valentine's
that?
Day. She told me.
And where were the kids when she took off?
I had them.
Okay. And then what happened?
I finally just got to where it was just too much, and I told her she had to go to rehab or we'd separate, and she took off for a week and then came back and finally decided to go to rehab, and I paid, the first initial payment was $3,750 to get her to a rehab. I let her choose whichever one she wanted. The one she wanted was in the mountains in Ohio, which required her to have all the mountain gear, the exo, just this huge list. It was like $1,500 worth of stuff, which to get her to go to rehab, I said, I don't care, I'll pay whatever it takes. So I took 3 days off work, drove her to Ohio, dropped her off. A day after I got home, she already got in a fight and was being flown back.
She'd already gotten into a fight with whom?
Another person in the rehab.
So she got thrown out? And they don't return your money?
Oh, no.
And how did she get into a fight with somebody?
She told me that some girl looked at her and started approaching her, and she attacked her.
And did they both get thrown out?
I don't know, but I know the other one had needed medical attention.
Have you ever known your wife to be violent?
Oh, yeah, very much so.
So you are presently separated from her?
Yes.
And who has the children?
Her parents, which
Accurate?
they've also.
She has some demons?
Yes, ma'am. She does have some demons. Don't deny that.
Kids are really young, you know? They need a mother and a father. What a mess. How do you figure, though, Chris, that this changes your obligation to them? Because these were your debts that got paid off.
Correct.
Right. So why? I mean, I hear what you're saying. You're out of money. And then what happened? Did they withdraw? Did you just decide you couldn't afford the house, or did they decide to?
With the bills that I put out and increasing my credit cards, it got to the point where if I did take the loan, that it would be extremely hard to pay, especially with having to pay the rest of the.
Right, and I understand that, and those are good decisions that sometimes a person has to make. But how does it change the terms of the loan? In other words, this was very clear that, look, we're loaning you this money. But if you happen to close on this house, it's going to be a gift. It never turned into a gift because you didn't happen to close on the house. And for good reasons. Everything you're doing is good. You should want the mother of your children clean. I understand that you feel like, hey, this is ironic, it's their kid. But at the same time, they're taking care of your kid.
Well, they're only taking care of my kid because they've taken them and they won't give them back to me.
What do you mean?
So would you sue your son-in-law if he stiffed you on a loan? Suppose you had a son-in-law, would you?
In a heartbeat.
Why? I mean, but it could create problems, right?
It could indeed, but a loan's an arrangement. We had a deal. Got to take him to court.
Fair enough. But that means your daughter is going to be collateral damage to this.
Yeah, I think you try to take it to arbitration.
Forget it. You can't do it. Do you get the money back? Do you sue him or not?
You kind of write it off.
You wouldn't sue him. Going inside the courtroom.
I was supposed to be sharing
With
custody
them?
with them, and they've refused to let me see my children.
Okay, they can't refuse to let you see the children. They're your children. Go to court. All you have to do is take 15 seconds. 15 seconds. Grandparents don't have rights. I hate to say it, because grandparents are often the only stable force in anybody's lives, but grandparents don't have rights. The Supreme Court has spoken on that years ago.
Day after tomorrow, we're supposed to have a court date over custody.
Yeah. Is it true that you're not letting him see his children?
The reason why what we're doing is, now that we're not letting him see him, we don't want to wait till there's a court order in place, because he has several times threatened to keep the kids over time.
He's not threatening to keep the kids. They're his kids. He made them.
I understand that. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We were given safety guardian powers by the state of North Carolina, by the Child Protection Agency.
Based on what?
That he called on because of my daughter having drinking.
Right, but how does that mean that you, rather than he, has the safeguarding capability?
Well, he's talked about going to New Mexico with the kids. He's talked about keeping the kids and not bringing them back one on time.
Okay, your wife better, let me just tell you something. Your daughter better show up, and show up clean on this one. Because if you guys are the ones who are just showing up, you're dead.
Oh, no,
okay? And has he ever done anything other than you're worried he'll take him to where? New Mexico? Has he ever done anything that would make you deem that he's not a fit custodian for his own children?
He's the one who actually caused the problem with the drinking back again.
How so?
Because he knew that she had a drinking problem. I told him several times. Her best friend told her several times that she cannot have alcohol. And he gave her alcohol.
Interesting. All right, we'll see how that plays out. But what's in front of me is a balance owed for a loan, which was always a loan, according to both of you, but was going to convert to a gift if a single thing happened, which is you closed on the house. You didn't close on the house, it's a loan. You paid $100 of it, right? Yeah, you got to pay the rest of it, and it's not shared because she isn't the one who approached them about it to pay her debt. It's you who approached them about it to pay your debt. Verdict for the plaintiff in the amount. No, there's nothing else to talk about. You can save the rest for family court. I feel very sorry for both of those children. I hope that everybody, when they show up at family court, has the best interest of the children and not themselves at heart at that point in time. $3,900 verdicts for the plaintiff.
So the plaintiff's going to get his $3,900 back. Chris, let me just ask you wanted to say something to the judge at the end? What did you want to say?
That, yes, there's a custody court. It's supposed to be day after tomorrow, but my wife is out on she's missing, and they canceled it because she won't be appearing.
And you don't know where she is? Do you have a clue? Really?
No.
What happens now in this relationship? You still have a relationship going on with him, right?
Try to do the best we can. I mean, there's kids involved.
Yeah, okay. Well, good luck. Hope you can work this out. Thank you very much. All right, Mr. Curtin, let me ask you, what do you think happens now that you've sued him? I mean, this thing's falling apart.
Well, I'm kind of hoping, like we won our settlement. I'm happy about that.
So what about your daughter? You worried? He doesn't know where she is.
We know where she is. She's being treated in a drug treatment center. She checked herself in. The court date was canceled due to the fact that the attorney is trying to get stuff squared away for it.
All right. And you learned about grandparents. They don't have rights there.
We knew
Yeah,
that.
That's a shame.
We
Yeah.
knew that.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Hope this works out for you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Harvey?
You know, Doug, it's really simple. He can blame it on his wife, but he took out the loan, so he is on the hook. And that will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.